So technically I lied. If I'm gonna convince you Vivi's Uranus, then I'm gonna have to convince you Momonosuke is Pluton. And here's how I'm gonna do this. So to begin, not only do I have to back up my claims of my argument, but I gotta convince you to like and subscribe. So, if you believe in my theory, please show your appreciation in doing so. Thank you very much. Now let's begin. As we begin, Uranus is the controller of the sky, the heavens, while Neptune controls the sea, and Pluton, the land. It kind of goes in order of, planets when you think about it. You got Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. So basically, they're based off the Greek gods. We got Shirihoshi, as we can permanently place as Neptune, or Poseidon, the controller of the seas. She's in control of how the currents move, which is why the Grand Line is the way it is. You have the Sea Kings controlling the current so that it creates the Grand Line, and then they leave the rest of the seas alone, but swim in the calm belt. With that knowledge, you can understand that this means control of the masses is segregated to the Grand Line, which is why the ancient weapons are used to control the people. It gives the world government their power. So essentially, the world government has already established the laws of the world by using these weapons. And the whole point of One Piece is to reverse that by freeing the world again. So we have Shirihoshi, who controls the sea, and now Uranus controls the sky. That means there's a reason for unpredictable weather on the Grand Line. So if we understand that Uranus controls the sky, that means that's the reason for the unpredictable weather on the Grand Line. The reason the weather's so unpredictable is probably because the controller of the sky, Uranus, manipulated it so that there must be some type of weather pattern or some sort of way you can sense how it's going to change. Now, I'm not 100% on the weather. They haven't really explained that much, especially because Nami is the main weather person, but you can even tell she notices the weather patterns. So, if we look at Princess Vivi, my number one candidate, we can tell that she is most likely the best person for this job of Uranus. And no, it's not because she has blue motherfucking hair. I've seen people use that as an example, and although it's symbolic, it's not concrete evidence. And that's what we're looking for here, baby. Facts. So first off, the story of Alabasta is about controlling the people using the weather. The rain is essentially foreshadowing Vivi's role in being Uranus. She controls the weather. So if Vivi is Uranus, then we can deduce that she subconsciously was able to enact her will or her power that she was born with as her birthright to help her people, her subjects that needed it. Because she knew from the start what they needed was natural rain and that crocodile was drying up their country. What she didn't know is that she had the power to manipulate this, but in a good, loving way. Because with Shirihoshi, when she activated her abilities, it was out of danger. She wanted to stop the Noah from falling. So the Sea Kings came to action accordingly. But in this situation, they just needed the rain to calm them down. So that's why it wasn't like a big fucking storm, even though she was like really passionate about them stopping, So I think she subconsciously activated it on a level. So people like to argue that Smoker-san used his rain powder or dance powder, whichever one you want to go with. But if you look on chapter 212, it clearly states that Smoker would not break the law in that country. And a lot of people like to put a spin on, but Tashigi broke the law. Or like a bunch of these, I don't know, they like to make up shit like, oh yeah, Smoker would totally Okay, so I'm not going to shit on Smoker, but there's no way he could have came up with that plan in the heat of the moment like that. And if he did, it wouldn't solve the overall problem of Alabasta, because that would have been stolen rainwater. It wouldn't be natural, The people would see through the farce and then just get angry again. So right off the bat, we can rule out Smoker manipulating it is just out of the question. That's just fact now. I'm all for ambiguous looks as a way to deny stuff, the way he gave that shit to Hina. But there's just not enough evidence to support that claim. So if you look at the side-by-side panels of both Vivi and Shirahoshi, you can kind of deduce that what happens is they scream out for help and then subconsciously activate their ability. This even happens to Momonosuke when he calls on Jack, and I'm gonna get to him later, but I'm just dropping that in. So we have Shirahoshi able to control the seas with the Sea Kings, and we have Uranus, aka Princess Vivi, able to control the skies. And in doing so makes crazy unpredictable weather so people are scared to go out and explore the world, which is a way of hindering people's freedom in the long run. Okay, we're gonna talk about Momonosuke next and how he has the ability to communicate with animals. I see this foreshadowed in the story because he has a strong relationship with the Zoan people. Wano and Zo have a strong relationship to each other, and I believe that's because the leader of Wano reincarnates as the leader of the land creatures, the land people. The ancient elephant, Zunisha, is proof enough because Momonosuke is able to talk to him. I do believe that if you have Conqueror's Haki, you can talk to animals, but I don't inherently believe that you can control them. You can probably convince them, but you can't ultimately control them. And I think that's Momonosuke's ability. Being able to control all the creatures of hell, if you want to put it that way. And so, if Momonosuke is supposed to be Pluto, aka Hades, aka the keeper of the underworld, so if you hear the words open the border of Wano, that's actually a euphemism for open the gates of hell. That's Momonosuke's job. And by that, I mean, underneath Wano, in a lava-esque domain, there must be Pluton sitting there. So because Pluto is related to Hades, and that would be the role of the ancient weapon, I believe Momonosuke has the only ability to communicate with Zunisha, and Zunisha is able to release Pluton into the world. I believe Pluton is a battleship hidden in Wano, and that the only way to access it is with the power of the ancient weapon, which is Momonosuke. But I do believe that Pluton is so strong, it's not just the ability to control ancient animals like Zunisha, but also the ability to harness the Earth's most natural and destructive resource. It's magma. Okay, so if you see the Big Mom and Kaido being knocked into the Earth core diagram, that's kind of like a little hint to it, that that's where the ancient weapon would be. Lava relates to hell, destruction, and power. If you look at Akainu, he's the fleet admiral, the most strongest man to command the navy, and even he harnesses the power of magma, aka lava. So I think Pluton must be a ship made of a lava-resistant material. I would say titanium, or whatever the poneglyphs are made out of, because Wano is known for creating them. So they would have the material on hand, and if that were true, they could make a ship that could float in lava. But here's the kicker. I also believe that Pluton can harness the lava and use it to create land masses, much like we see volcanic islands form in our world. I believe Momonosuke is the key to Pluton, but there's technically a ship and a key to open the ship. For lack of better terms, a key to open the gates of hell. Open Wano. If we're able to use Pluton to harness the Earth's natural resource of lava or magma, you could essentially build islands wherever you please, and they would be full-form structures because you'd be getting the material from the Earth. So once it touches the water, it would solidify into a hard substance on which would create an island. So I truly believe that Pluton is able to create islands, as well as destroy islands, because isn't that also just as deadly? Magma being able to cover an island, destroying the entire facilities and people and crops and land. That is the key to the ancient weapons. We have the winds and the crazy weather controlling the Grand Line. We have the Sea Kings controlling the current. And we got Pluton, which creates islands. And by doing so, all three of these weapons have been used by the world government to control the masses. it makes perfect sense, because if you're able to control all three of these elements, you're able to free everyone. Because everybody talks about destroying the red line and the calm belt, but no one ever talks about the weather. Why is the weather in the Grand Line the only place where it is unpredictable and crazy? Yet only a certain few, which in my opinion must be some type of observation hockey, like how does Nami know the perfect weather? Well, there must be a pattern to it. There must be some kind of like flow to it. Just like there's a flow to the red line and the calm belt. And by flow, I mean like the red line is there for a reason, the calm belt is there for a reason, and the weather is there for a reason, because they all make a divided and easily controllable world. Oh, and here's just a random theory, but Vivi likes to fly on a bird, and I think that's relevant, and it proves that she just loves flying, and she's just a sky god. That last one was a joke, but all in all, it's just a theory, and if I did convince you, I would appreciate a little support now. Come on, you give me a little lat bone, baby. Thank you very much, and please share the video if you have One Piece fans, and if you find my arguments to be inconclusive or just stupid, please let me know.